Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano on actually quite a sad day today. Nevertheless, we carry on here in our calm way with a Elliott Wave analysis of Bitcoin and Cardano. Yeah, we don't want to get into politics here, even though, of course, quite bad things going on in the world at the moment, and they certainly had an impact on the price. Yes, I usually say that a lot of news and everything are already priced into the charts, and therefore I don't pay too much attention to news. And even here, I'm of the opinion that this dip that we saw today in the crypto market would have happened anyway. It maybe just was the catalyst today that we saw, and to be fair, we have already recovered from that, and we get into that in a minute. We haven't recovered fully from it, no, still below 37k here for Bitcoin, but we see a little bit of a recovery today. And what I said before as well, that if you are already in a downtrend, negative news which are not already priced in, they can have a effect on the price. But if you're in an uptrend, for example, such news would have less impact or maybe even no impact at all. Okay, so in a certain scenario, in a curtain wave pattern, for example, in which we are currently for Bitcoin, a wave 2, in this scenario, then certain things are possible. The chart can do certain things that it couldn't do in an uptrend, and therefore we see this effect of something like a conflict or a war or something even worse. But I'm actually surprised about Bitcoin. Didn't really mention it earlier today, but I'm actually surprised that it did not drop more. What I would have thought is really a little bit more in terms of capitulation in case of such an event. We didn't see it. We did see it quite a lot with Russian stocks today, but the Bitcoin is really holding well. I mean, it did drop here to 34.5k earlier today. That was the level that I mentioned in my update videos yesterday, where we could find support. And yeah, I mean, for an event like that, we dropped, but we didn't drop, I mean, massively for the degree of an event that was. I mean, we already saw it in the headlines, and that's so funny. Saw it in the headlines today in the main news pages that Bitcoin is crashing. And I mean, Bitcoin is going down at the moment. We know that it's in a correction. It's totally normal, absolutely normal. Bitcoin won't die. No, it's just in a normal correction that in every market is normal in especially in a young market like the crypto market, okay? Because there is not too much market cap, so you can see the volatility coming in. But you can see where we were yesterday before anything really was happening in the Ukraine, and that was at around 39k. That was here the peak at 39.5 really, and we have then dropped down. I mean, we talked about that as we broke back into this descending broadening wedge, that we could reach the 34.5k level, and I mean that was reached, or 35k. We did go a little bit below that, but we are already back to 37k. So it didn't have that much of an impact, and that is exactly what I actually hoped for. I mean, I wouldn't really say hoped for, but what I actually thought would happen here. Yeah, when we came up here, I told you about this level here of 41.5. I talked about a little bit more of a recovery for Bitcoin. However, it already bounced off this resistance line here. And the reason I told you, I mean, that was probably 2 or 3 days ago, we talked about a Bitcoin recovery, and not the massive one, but a little bit of a recovery. And the reason for that was because, especially here on, let's just open the 8-hour chart. Let's just open the 8-hour chart, because Bitcoin was just so much in the area of basically the oversold area. The indicator, especially the RSI here, was very, very low, and therefore I did actually expect, and still expect now, a bit of a recovery. I mean, I was actually, of course, the price did drop in reaction of these negative news from earlier today, but then the downside potential was limited. That is my translation of this, because the indicators were already low. The price did drop over the last few days anyway. So you are already running out of steam to the downside, yeah? So there is not really much the price could really do to the downside, to be honest, yeah? That is why I think we could see a little bit of a recovery here. And that is also why I was actually thinking we could really break out of this descending broadening wedge. To be fair, we did that, but it was a fake out. We then broke down. Maybe we give it another go and break out of this pattern. Maybe this time it will succeed, and we could go up to that next resistance at 41.5k. I think that is really what could be happening. At some point here in this whole correction, there will, in my opinion, be another recovery. Yeah, nothing major, not necessarily, but it is something that here needs to bring the indicators a little bit higher. We are definitely so low on these indicators, yeah. The RSI on the daily quite low, nearly at the 35-40 range. On the 2-day chart as well, around 40. On the 4-day chart also here, around 37. So the indicators are very low and the downside potential is still fairly limited, even here on the weekly chart. And I mean, Bitcoin, I think, is trying here on the weekly chart to reduce the selling momentum here. So I don't think it's going to be a turnaround, but if you get a bullish cross on the weekly chart, that is definitely a sign that the downtrend is ending. Well, we are still far away from that. But I think we could see here some sort of a recovery, and which level, in case there is a recovery now after this dip, could be possible. So obviously next resistance is pretty much where we are now of this descending broadening wedge at 37.5K. Now, if we break that, my immediate price target would be here this previous high at 39.2K, okay? This is also the previous resistance here that you had here, this descending trend line, basically offering support back here and then being retested here, which is when we had this strong drop, okay? So I think it is certainly possible for the price to touch that again. That is certainly possible if it breaks above that. Next resistance would be the 50-day moving average here at 40.5, and then a very important one would be 41.5. I think there is certainly a possibility that the price could come back into that. And if we draw the fib levels for this move, just the retracement levels, then we can also highlight the area to which the price could really realistically go to. And we're talking here about this area. If we look at the fib levels, I'm going to highlight that to you, and then we can take a look if we're actually going to land there. I mean, this is here the area starting at 38.8. If we just look at the fib levels here, 39.5 and 40.8. And this could then really, maybe really then finally be that wave 4, okay? Because we don't know at the moment if this was the wave 4, could this be the wave 4, yeah? Certainly, as it stands at the moment, this could become a wave 4 here, especially as the indicators are so low. And then from here, we could start that final wave down. That wave 4 is not allowed to break above 41.5, then it would be invalidated, yeah? It would be invalidated then we don't have this downtrend, because at the moment you can understand what we're doing here as a downtrend. And in the end, you know, what I think we are doing here actually, I mean, I'll leave it in there for now, but this here overall could become a huge descending broadening wedge. Can you see if I take that line out, maybe I do, then you can see that descending broadening wedge here in big, basically, yeah, in large. So therefore I think we can get really into this target area, retest that previous resistance and then drop down, and that would be at, as I said, around 39.1, 39.2K. So that is what I think could be happening. We could move up a little bit more on the 1 hour chart, not overbought yet. So there is certainly a little bit more scope for further upside potential after the initial shock drop. But as I said, this was not as strong as I thought it should have been, okay? And then we still have this alternative scenario. Should the price really move higher and higher? This is still not off the table. This previous scenario that the price could break above 46.5K. If it does that, and I don't think it will, you know, I would only give it a probability of 30% at the moment. But should the price really break above this 46.5K, then we unlock higher prices. So when that level gets broken, some people might want to open a long position, I don't know. But this is certainly a level where we could then get all the way up to an area around 55K and maybe even all the way up to 65K, but not to all-time highs. Until we haven't broken that level, my primary expectation is very strongly that we are going to sell off here straight away. Yeah, that is currently my view on Bitcoin, especially this is still at play, this scenario, this alternative, because we still haven't broken the 33K level, yeah? We need to break that. So, and then that sell-off target area remains as it is, as it has been for the last 3 months. Between 20 and 29K is my target area. And Cardano also recovering, yeah, in line with what Bitcoin is doing. I think I mentioned it in my earlier video today that Cardano again was oversold because it has just in the last few days dropped down so much. It has dropped down so much. And still, I think it's a really good project. Just those price developments don't have anything to do at the moment, in my view, here with the potential that the project actually has. As always, you know, when you invest in Cardano, you always get the haters for free. What I think we can do is to move this previous support line maybe down a little bit and suddenly you get a new pattern here. Can you see that here in orange? It is again a descending wedge, but it is now larger, okay? So we are now in this wedge pattern again. And from here, yeah, you can see between which levels the price could be moving. So we had here this support line at 77 cents. And the resistance here today, for example, would be at 90, 99, well, pretty much $1, okay? Pretty much $1. Cardano is very much oversold, similar to Bitcoin, but maybe even a little bit more. We can see it, especially here on the daily chart, how that RSI is really so low. Yeah, it is so low, nearly at the 30 level. Yeah, and however, I think for Cardano, we could really get close to an end of the correction. It has really dropped down a lot. I'm now on the weekly chart. My target area for this current correction to finish is between 30 and 55 cents. This is between the 88.7% fib level and the 78.6%. And one reason why I think we're getting close to the completion of the correction is that over the last few weeks, a lot of the so-called sharks, addresses of a certain size have accumulated Cardano quite a lot. We can also see that on the weekly chart, we now see the selling momentum decreasing. It has decreased already quite a lot. And if you get to the step where we do a bullish crossover, I mean, that is still a few weeks away. But if we get to that step, that could be the next catalyst for the next move up. Yeah, it certainly could be. Similar to what happened here before in August, where we also, when we had the bullish cross here on the weekly, it was nearly too late when it happened, but you see it coming, right? And then this is basically the last warning before you get to new all-time highs. So that is typically what happens. And we could be getting there in the next few weeks, I think. On the weekly RSI, however, short term, there is still further downside potential. Nevertheless, the price has dropped a lot, and at the moment, also Cardano is pretty much a lot in very close to the oversold area. I don't think the correction is over. I think we could really see that 55-cent level, but as soon as we get into this target area, there should be the turnaround. I mean, don't think it's going to drop lower. I mean, that's only my view here at the moment. It has then dropped quite a lot. It has provided a clean ABC correction if it gets into that target area, and from there it can really then start to new highs around 450, or at least 450, $4.50, not $450, $4.50, but certainly also higher. That would be my minimum target. And what is noteworthy about Cardano is just growing, and Cardano is increasing transactions. We recently even had here on the chart the news that Cardano's transaction volume beats that of Bitcoin and Ether combined. And that is big news. And a lot of people still call Cardano a ghost chain. I think that argument does not count anymore. It is really, really being used a lot. Yeah, even Cardano NFT is becoming more popular, and I think it has a bright future. Of course, not only hyping here Cardano, no, also talking about a lot of other high potential coins and cryptos. But Cardano has a lot of potential, yeah. And if many people don't see it, but we'll see. We'll see how we get there, and where we get to. I think in the next few years, Cardano has a lot of upside potential, and these are very, very attractive prices for buying. And at the moment as well, I am again accumulating. I did stop for a while, but I've started again, in these price levels here, and I've got another buy order set a little bit lower even, so that I can accumulate a little bit more. Yeah, that's my view here on Bitcoin and Cardano. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And yeah, if you really like the content and would like additional content as well, feel free to check out the channel membership. You can find the links for that in the video description, and that gives you access to my Discord server, the live Telegram chat, and also the weekly live stream. And for gold members, new now as well, some analysis on Discord for stocks and shares. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.